I went to an auction in 2008 and they had these prices, and I see these houses going for like 530. I'm like, are these mobile homes or houses? They said they're houses. Like, where's Desert Hot Springs? I said, north side of Palm Springs. Like, well, hell, so I buy 4 houses. I don't even know where Desert Hot Springs is at the I don't even know where it was. But I'm like, $25,000, 30,000 per house. I'm like, how can you go wrong? It's can you get a foundation? So I went out there next day and I saw it. And once I bought 4 properties, I was vested. I started buying stuff, and I got all my friends. One of my friends bought 15. A friend bought 10. A lot of them still own the properties out there. I've got still some, but for the most part, they're gone. So
Wow.
yeah,
Okay.
so
Yeah. So
good luck had a lot to do with it.
Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
hey, everybody, welcome to the Investor Fuel Podcast. I am your host, Skyler Byrd, and today I am joined by Anthony Santillo. Anthony, thank you for joining the podcast. All right. I am very excited to talk to Anthony today. He has got about 40 years of experience, both in real estate investing and title insurance. He's got a lot of information to give. I'm really excited to get to talk to him today. So again, Anthony, thanks for hopping on the podcast with us. All right. Now, Anthony, since you got your start back in your early 20s, correct?
Yep, correct.
All right. What got you into real estate to begin with?
Well, I've always been a hard worker, and saved a bunch of money, had a bunch of toys, the big truck jacked up in the 80s, and the boat and the ATCs and all that kind of stuff. And my parents had property, so I figured I wanted to buy something. I just got my AS degree out of Glendale College, decided I was going to buy something, and bought a little fourplex. Saw that it didn't seem like the agent did that much and kind of misguided me on things. So I figured I could do a better job. Got my license, and it took off, and gave me a lot of opportunity to buy at that time because you see everything that's out there available. And at the same time, I was able to make decent money and continue on my career. And I got my first listing because I listed my building that I bought, and 1031 exchanged that, and then bought another one, and 1031 and just kind of got the ball rolling throughout those years.
Very nice. I'm on a streak of talking to people that seem to have gotten their start in real estate because their agent screwed up in some way or another. And so they just said, no, I'm going to get my own license. I'm going to figure this out.
Yeah.
Which is great, which is what you got to do. All right. So let me ask you, how many properties would you say throughout your career have you bought, sold? What does your portfolio kind of look like?
Probably over the years, probably at least 100. I mean, at one point, back in the REO days, I think I owned probably, I bought 15 to 20 homes out in like Desert Hot Springs, where you can buy a house from, they were selling, either was foreclosed on or being foreclosed on, or a short sale. That's everything out there. I bought them out of not even knowing what the area was. I was sitting there. I went to an auction in 2008 and they had these prices, and I see these houses going for like 530. I'm like, are these mobile homes or houses? They said they're houses. Like, where's Desert Hot Springs? They said, north side of Palm Springs. Like, well, hell, so I buy 4 houses. I don't even know where Desert Hot Springs is at the I don't even know where it was. But I'm like, $25,000, 30,000 per house. I'm like, how can you go wrong? Can you get a foundation? So I went out there next day and I saw it, and once I bought 4 properties, I was vested. I started buying stuff, and I got all my friends. One of my friends bought 15. A friend bought 10. A lot of them still own the properties out there. I've got still some, but for the most part, they're gone. So
wow. Okay. So
good luck had a lot to do with it.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
Well, hey, a lot of us, you got to make your own luck. So you put yourself in a good place and you were available at the right time. So
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with that at all.
Yeah.
And most of what you've done or everything that you've done right has been in California.
Yeah.
All right. So obviously, besides the pricing out there, what have you seen as one of the biggest changes in the real estate market in California?
From the beginning till now, gosh, back when we were doing it was a 2-page contract. Now it's like 100 pages. Now it's DocuSign, which back then you had to sit there and sign all the paperwork. I was a realtor, so I remember having to go to the clients' homes and here's the contract and filling it all out line by line. And they're reading, and they get the engineer that's reading every single line while you're sitting there waiting to just sign it. Now no one even reads anything. You just DocuSign, click, click, click all the way down the line. You find out you signed something off you didn't really pay attention to when you did it now. But it's all the disclosure stuff that now you're covering it. There's so much more paperwork involved than used to be. And there's so much more really liability wise too on that part of it. So it has changed a lot and doesn't seem like it gets any easier. It just seems to get harder and harder all the time.
Yeah. Paperwork changes everything. And I think every industry has kind of seen the paperwork just increase constantly. Luckily, we're not killing any more trees nowadays, but it is still a pain. But let me ask you, what have you kind of focused on as far as real estate investing? Do you mostly do single family, multifamily, any commercial in the portfolio?
Well, it's funny. So my parents migrated here from Italy, and Italians love properties when they get here. And one my dad would always tell me, he said, "Look, always buy multifamily." He says, if things get tough, you can always move into one of the units and have the other ones rented. If you buy a house, you can't rent out bedrooms in your house. He said, so when I grew up, we live in the front house and there'd be back units. And then down the line, my parents had enough money, they bought their single family. So my thing was always buying multifamily. I was a big into the multifamily. Everything was 2 to 4 units for the most part. And then later on, stepped up and bought some like 8-10 unit buildings, but most of it was just a small. My sweet spot was a 2 to 4 unit, kind of like the blue collar neighborhood. There was never one to buy private ownerships, and it was funny. I had a lot of friends in real estate. We were all realtors together, and I'm buying the stuff that kind of in the lower blue collar neighborhoods, and they're all buying the private ownership stuff. And then there was in '92 or whatever when we had that crash, and they lost all their buildings, and mine were still paying. At the time the rents were $250 a month. Now they're $1,250 a month. Things have changed a lot there too.
Jeez. Wow.
Yeah, big changes.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, obviously, you've got a ton of experience on the investment side of things. How did you actually get into title insurance, and when did that happen for you?
It's funny story on that. So, it may sound chauvinistic, but I had a friend of mine who was also a realtor with me, and she called me one day, said, "Anthony, I got to talk to you." So I go and talk. She goes, "Listen, I was recruited into." She was a realtor, very, doing successful. She goes, "I was recruited into title insurance. What do you think?" I said, "God, it'd be a great job for you. You got weekends off, your evenings off, you got all your, insurance benefits and all that." And so she goes and she takes the job. So then she becomes my title rep, and she's working on it for like a year and a half. And then all of a sudden, her and her partner asked me out to go to lunch. And so I go to lunch with them, and they start talking to me saying, "Listen, we want to go to lunch because we wanted to find out Cheryl's going to go back to Bakersfield and do title out there. And I need a partner. We want you to partner." I said, "Oh, you guys are so nice." "No, thank you though. But that's not me. I was killing it in real estate. I was doing 42 deals a year. I was really busy. And when I was top agent in 3 offices, and they're going, she's like, "But Anthony, you told me it was a good job for me." I said, "I know, but you have your weekends and evenings off and stuff." I said, "I'm killing it right now. I got a wife and kids. I got to make this money I'm making right now." And then when I got home, I told my wife, and she's like, "What'd you say?" I said, "Are you kidding me?" I said, "I'm going to cut my income by half at least." And she's like, "Yeah, but we'd have a life. You're never around. You're always with the, open houses." And so I went back and talked to them, and, I worked out a deal. And I said, it was funny because I got out of real estate. I was in title at that point, and nobody believed I did it. They're going, "Yeah, right." I went to the caravan meeting, introduced. And I was like, "Yeah, right. You're going to the title. That's the bottom of the pecking order, And then I'd already gotten out my assistant. I kept her on just to close all the escrows I had going. And I bring my wife a check. And I said, "Look, we're never going to see a check like this again." It was like Back then it was a lot. It was like $27,000 commission check.
Yeah.
Never going to see one of these again. I hope you're happy that made this change. But
if you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency. It's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
for her side of it, it was a great move because of what I knew in real estate. It took a while to get everyone's trust in me because they all thought I'm going to get all their clients and I'm going to go back into real estate again.
Okay.
So that was tough at the very beginning part. But once they saw it, I knew what they were looking for. They said, hey, give me a farm package, and then I knew what they were looking for before they knew what they were looking for. But it's worked out real well. That's helped me on that part of it. It definitely kept my family together because real estate, you can work 24/7 and I'm a workaholic. So that's pretty much what I did. It was all real estate.
So you took all the connections that you had from working in real estate, all the agents probably at your office, everything. You just had to get them over the fact that, hey, I'm not coming back. I'm not trying to steal everybody.
Exactly.
And it worked out. Very nice.
Yep.
All right. Let me ask you, before we started the podcast, you were telling me about something pretty interesting. So can you tell everybody, what are you seeing with stepped up basis right now?
So what we're seeing a lot of times, I've got a lot of friends that have gone through this. And in fact, I just got done doing a deal with, it's like a relative of ours. And she had a stroke about 2.5 years ago, had a really nice house. And, we've been there many times. She's been at every event ever in our house, weddings and everything else. And she was in her 90s and her friend is the beneficiary of the estate. And so I was, successor trustee with her to take care of it when things happen. And my daughter was looking for buying a house. And so she says, well, why doesn't your daughter buy? I said, thought about it, but it would have to work out the numbers wise. So then we come up with a number and everything is good. She goes, well, let's sell it to her. I said, no. I said, you don't want to do this, Katie. She goes, well, what do you mean? Why don't I want to sell it to her now? I said, are you kidding me? I said, the capital gains on that thing, this is your inheritance. I said, why don't we wait until she passes to sell it? And meanwhile, what we'll do is we'll have the kids move into it and do a lease option. We'll have it where, they're going to pay enough money because we had to have enough money to come in to pay in the convalescent hospital $9,000 a month. And so that was going to use up all of her savings and everything else. Well, once we were able to get them to pay, so look, if we can get them to pay $8,000 a month, we'll give them back a credit back and we'll do it for like a 5-year term. We know she's probably not going to last as long. She was in her 90s, wasn't doing well anyway, but she lasted a lot longer than we thought. It was like 3 years she lasted after, she had her stroke and everything. Yeah. So we're just actually closing the transaction now, which we did is we were paying $8,000 a month. We got a portion of the money back as credit. She didn't have to pay. She's not paying any capital gains because of the stepped up basis. Her basis, she would have ended up paying like $400,000 in capital gains. And now she's going to get basically a net $2 million. She would have ended up with $1.6 million. So not only did she get the income this whole time, we had enough money to pay it. So otherwise it would have come out of all the savings she's going to get. So It worked out really for the buyers. And my daughter told us that she was bugging me going, Dad, when are we going to close on this thing? Why can't we just close escrow? I said, until she passes, you can't close escrow. It's too much loss to the beneficiary. I said, on top of that, what you're paying technically when you get your credit backs on an option purchase, that's way more savings than the tax benefits would ever give you. So just do what you're doing right now. The longer she lives, the better it is for you, really, in my eyes. So it worked out good for everybody. So it's a really good way to, and I've talked to a lot of people about when you get someone as a parent or somebody going in a convalescent hospital and they're going to have to be paying this money every month. And the one thing you don't want to do is become a landlord, get rid of all mom's stuff, rent the house out, and then mom dies the next day. And now you're going to be a landlord and you got tenants in there and then you want to sell it. You can't sell it. And now you look at some of these areas, you can't even kick people out of a single family without paying relocation fees. It's like, It's a nightmare potentially. So it's a good way to keep things where and a lot of people don't know about the lease option, explain it to them. But once they hear about it, it's so interesting. It is a good way to prolong it and sell a property. And no one else is going to be able to buy it. Not like they can sell it from beneath you. But you got to make sure title's clear before that. We got to make sure that they have the authority to do it. We need to copy trust and all that kind of stuff. But if that's all clear, it's something that could be really beneficial for everybody.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
Well, I'm sure it's a little easier when you have the expertise that you do on the title side of things. So, but no, it's interesting because when you brought that up, I was talking to somebody, a few days back, and that's where he saw a lot of opportunity, especially in California, was with, deceased homeowners, things like that. And it's interesting because one of the things one of the buzz topics out there rather is, we're in a housing crisis and, we need homes, we need family homes. And, you hear other people saying, why are these people that are, 85, 90 years old, it's like, sell your home, you can, move into a condo or something like that. And it's like, you're going to get taxed an insane amount, especially in California. You bought your home in in the 60s, like you're trapped, right? You don't have an income anymore. But this is where some opportunity to actually find homes for the right rate come in. So that's awesome. Excellent.
Well, hopefully Trump comes out and gets rid of capital gains, and that happens. Huge, but we'll see if that works or not. But if it does, it could be huge for people that are trapped in their homes. I mean, they're $4 million home. They want to go in a small little home and they can't sell it because their kids are going to lose $1 million of inheritance by them selling it and going into a $2 million home. Pay a couple million, it could be $1 million in capital.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, especially if you want to stay in the actual, in the area where your family is. Again, if you come from a place like California, I'm sure you're not going to want to move to rural Indiana or something like that, right? Where some of that might make sense, but yeah, it's.
Well, the thing is that people are trapped right now because of our rates are so high that they can sell their house. By the time they pay their capital gains and they go from, selling their $4 million home, buying a $2 million home, and then they're paying their property tax based on a $2 million now. It's going to cost them more to live in a smaller home than it costs them to live in a $4 million after paying capital gains and a new, set up new tax base on there.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point too. All right, so let me ask you. I mean, with your decades of experience in the California real estate market, I mean, what do you see as opportunities right now on your side?
I don't know. It's kind of funny because I got a lot of my friends in the industry and they're still doing flipping. I get a little nervous about the flipping idea. I've never been a flipper. I bought properties with the intent of renting them out. And if the market's good, we'll put it on the market. And if we can sell it for the right price, great. If not, every time I bought anything was always with the idea that I'm going to fix it up and I'm going to rent it out. And then I'll try it for a month. And if I can sell it in a month, great. Otherwise, my idea was buying it with a number that this makes sense for me to buy it and I can rent it out and it pays for itself. Now, that was what I always did in the past. So the market's interesting. I think there is some buy opportunities. If somebody can come in with the right creative financing or can make the numbers work or don't mind a negative cash flow in situations. Like a friend of mine listed a little duplex in Eagle Rock and it was occupied and they could not sell that thing because they had two paying, $750 rent on a duplex and they were asking like $850 for the thing. And nobody's going to buy it. You're stuck with these tenants. You could be stuck with them forever unless you got kids that can move into it, And they just paid like, I think $30,000 a piece to get them out. Yet the price stayed down the same. I think that's a great little opportunity. I mean, if you buy something like that at $800 in a good neighborhood, put a little bit of money into it, Eagle Rock's a great little neighborhood, poppin' area. So there are opportunities out there, but it is hard because once they hit the market, everybody's out there looking at it.
Yeah.
That's a difficult one.
Absolutely. And what is it there in California now? Is it 15 years and then there's complete rent control? Is that right? Or am I a little off on that?
It's different. I mean, Pasadena passed the worst rent control, I think, in California right now. It's awful. And, I never thought that it would happen. And it's the more crazy part about it is you got a self-chosen rent control board. There's 11 of the people are tenants and there's one property owner on the board. What opportunity is a landlord ever going to have where 11 of the 12 people are all tenants? You're never going to be able to have an opportunity to change anything. They're trying to make it where if you got to pay relocation, of course, on stuff. I mean, everyone's got relocation, but they're trying to actually right now, they're trying to roll rent back to 2021. Can you imagine you bought a property this year based on a certain amount of rent and they're going to roll the rents back to 2021 and you have no say in the matter? I mean, that's just ridiculous. Yeah. So it's gotten difficult. So, and I don't know where the safe in California, I don't know where the safe haven is. I mean, it's like even Glendale is very conservative and actually has a pretty good, decent rent control, but in that situation, they have a relocation where you pay 1 month's worth of rent, fair market rent, for every year they've been there up to 6 years. So if they've been there 8 years, you pay 6 months worth of fair market. Now, if the tenant's paying $2,000 and fair market's $3,000, you got to give them $18,000, even though they only paid you $12,000 in that. It's crazy. It's happening everywhere. Burbank's now pushing it. And I don't know why. You look at the area that have rent control, they've got the worst rental market because I've got a guy that's in one of my buildings 48 years. He's the guy that I just told you that I had to get a restraining order against. He's been there 48 years. He's paying $550 rent. He inherited $2 million worth of assets from his mom. Got a house and, nice house and everything. He won't move there. He's crazy. But he said, even if I move, I'm going to keep this as a storage for my stuff. And there's nothing I can do about it. Your rent control. As long as he pays the rent, he's paying $550 and I should be getting $2,000. I mean, that's where it doesn't work. People don't leave.
Yeah. Well, obviously, I would imagine, especially in California where the rents are so sky high, if they find themselves in that situation.
They're never leaving.
Yeah, absolutely. And even though we have that, that kind of situation now, you still think it's important to get your children into investing. And I know we just talked about your daughter with that opportunity, but tell me, why do you think it's important for your kids?
Well, I mean, I just think that the stability part of it is that, no matter what happens, as long as you can afford it. I always say, I don't like the idea of, people basically putting everything they have into it because things get tight, you lose a job, whatever. It's very difficult. But renting a place is not easy either. I mean, if you go and rent a house and all of a sudden the landlord decides next year he wants to sell it, now you're moving again. It's not cheap to move. And then where do you go? We got hit up here. Was near the Eaton fires and stuff. And that poor community's gotten, devastated, and there is no that many rentals available out there. And then they started pushing that whole thing about gouging or whatever, and the problem is you had a huge demand for these places. You have people lining up, bidding over what landlords were asking for it. I always think that's something good, that if you can get yourself on any property, that numbers work. I even tell people that, look, our areas are expensive. Buy something anywhere. I mean, if you go out to like Palm Desert or some of those outside communities, you can buy something, keep it as a rental. I said, all these young kids that work with me, I got her to buy when she was like 23 years old. She was my assistant. I got her to buy her first property. I said, now you're making good money. You got to buy another property. So then bought another one. So she's got 2 houses in Desert. She doesn't live in either one. She rents an apartment, but she owns 2 investment properties that are paying for themselves. And you get the depreciation and you get the tax benefits. And that's one of the big things people don't look at. You look at as an investment property, they're just looking at what's my cash flow on it. Well, you got to also look what's the tax benefits on it on the back end of it. How much are you saving at the end of the year tax-wise by having you're able to get your 27.5-year depreciation. You get to do all your improvements you got to write off and all that kind of stuff. It makes a big difference when you look at the end of the tax year, not just what your cash flow is.
Yeah. Yeah. So
that's something they got to own something. I don't care what it is. They got to own something.
Absolutely. No, that's a good way to look at it. Look beyond the cash flow. Look for the ancillary benefits that you get. I like it. And and Anthony, first of all, we're kind of coming up on time here, so just before we go, if someone would like to get a hold of you, if they need help for title insurance or anything like that, how can they get in touch?
You just call me or send me an email. My cell number is, I always get it out, is 818-307-4767. Or my email address is anthony.santillo, that's SANTILLO, @ctt.com, and that's Chicago Title. If you need any information, my real expertise beside the investment part is really title insurance. And that's where I really kind of shine on getting problems cleared up. You've got a family situation. It's really sad because I always tell people, let's look at the title before we do anything, because mom may have forgotten to put it into her trust, and now you got a probate on your hands. And that happened to myself. I mean, mom had a couple of properties and she forgot to put one into her trust. And last minute, we're at the at the hospital having document notarized and signed so we can put it into the trust, so we wouldn't have had a probate on our hands.
Wow. All right.
All the time.
It is absolutely tricky, but Anthony, no, thank you very much for joining the podcast. I know I got a lot out of it with all of your experience, and all of our listeners out there. If you got something out of this today, please hit the subscribe button. We have got more interviews like this coming down the pipe all the time, and we will see you on the next episode. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.